morning, everybody. Pleasure to be here with you all this morning. Uh, my name is Jitender. I represent Signify. Let me add to the flavors what we have seen, starting, of course, from Nestle to Marriott. We've basically seen quite some flavors. I'm going to unpack for you the new flavor of lighting. I'll give you a quick sneak preview of how we are actually going about our sustainability journey and advancing our agenda about brighter lives and better world. Before I deep dive into the content, I do understand I might need a minute just to introduce Signify. So Signify is the new name of Philips Lighting. We actually became independent after Royal Philips went through through a restructuring process a few years back, and now we are an independent lighting company listed on Amsterdam Stock Exchange. We are globally #1 lighting company. We are passionate and driving the revolution of energy efficiency in the lighting solutions with our cutting-edge lighting technology in LED space, in the IoT or smart sensor space, plus also innovative business model and services. We operate in 70 countries with about 30,000 strong workforce, and we basically have operations end-to-end from the light source to the end systems and services. To our credit, with the deep commitments we have on the sustainability, we have accolades from the globally renowned agencies. We are on the A list from CDP for climate and supply chain since 2017. We are actually EcoVadis Platinum rated as a top 1% sustainability rated since 2016. We are also proud members of the Dow Jones Best in Class World Index. All this certainly underpins the lot of substantial efforts which we have made in last so many years, some of which includes we have actually been able to reduce our emissions by 60% since 2019. We have Signify's global operations 100% fed through renewable electricity since 2020. And in vast portfolio of sustainable products, we have a good support of almost 3,000 products supported with the EPDs in our entire portfolio. In addition to our sustainability commitment, let me give you a bit of a perspective of what lighting contributes and how it impacts the sustainability in general. Now we have lighting, we need it for our cities, we need it for our homes, we need it for events and venues like this. But I think just to contextualize, lighting consumes about 15% of the global electricity and contributes about 5% to the global emissions. Now, if we really compare it with some of the other industries, like yesterday there was discussions on the podium about industries like aviation, which generally tends to get much higher attention and scrutiny. Compared to that, lighting certainly, of course, is contributing higher, and you will see in the subsequent slides, is indeed in a much better position to actually contribute towards the decarbonization efforts in a much positive way. So, in terms of our ambition, we are not talking about the incremental emission reduction targets or even have an over-reliance on carbon offsets. We have taken rather a bold position. We have committed for going net zero by 2040 by absolute reduction in our scope 1, 2, and 3 by 90%, and then remaining 10% to be offsetted through carbon credits. This is a unique position. The mix of our scope 1 and 2 and 3 is very distinct from many other industries. If you really notice here, over 99% of our emissions are actually scope 3 emissions. Now, this is, of course, a big challenge, but also a unique opportunity in essence. We are, out of this 99.83, what you see here, over 99% of the emissions actually comes from product use. So which simply means as we continue to innovate on our product and the efficiency improvements of our product, there's a unique opportunity for us not just to cut down on our scope 3 emissions, which actually is in most cases scope 2 for our customers and other stakeholders. It actually helps to basically have the benefits of reduction on our side, on the customer side, but also a lot of financial benefits which comes along with the energy reductions and cost savings. Just to zoom in on how we are operationalizing the whole journey, you typically would have to look at it end to end. So what you see on the slide here, we have the upstream supplier side and scope 3, then we have our own operations, and then we finally zoom in onto the downstream side. So this entire action plan collectively contribute about 90% reduction, what we have set out for ourselves. If you see here on the supplier side, we are talking about, of course, the supplier programs, sustainability programs, where we consult, we audit, we basically support them in terms of they reducing their, of course, carbon footprint, but we also help them buy or have the enablement to the access of renewable energy. We support that through helping them with power purchasing agreements. Then we're going into the logistics. We are going full electric in terms of our logistics operations. In our own Signify operations, we have done substantially well in last few years. As I said, since 2019, we have actually reduced over 60%. We have gone fully on renewable electricity already for our operations. So there's not so much left to do, but we'll continue to look for opportunities to retrofit our facilities with newest technologies and still continue to, of course, push the limits and continue to save further on the operations. The big lever, of course, is the downstream operations for us, and of which the product use is the biggest. 88% of this 90% reduction which we are talking about has to come from the product use itself. And that's where the innovations and the investments we are making essentially to advance the efficiency improvements in the lighting, in the LED technology. We have latest innovations around the ultra efficiency, which in general is reducing the electricity consumption or the energy savings to the extent of 50 to 60% versus even the first generation LEDs. We're not comparing just them with the conventional lighting, but even among the versus the first generation, there's a substantial savings in the offing. If we really look at the overall situation, there is limited scope in our own operations, as you saw, that 99.8% is basically in scope 3, big part of which is in the use. So there are only two key drivers we can actually rest on. So one, the easiest one, of course, is to continue to drive the improvements in the efficiency of our own solution. We continue to do that with our LED technology. We, of course, have a lot of smart IoT-based technologies essentially to couple up with our LED technologies and advance the overall efficiency improvements. But that simply would not be enough. We also need to rely on the shift of the industry towards renewable electricity. And that's over a period of time is going to be very substantial. So we expect about 40-odd% reduction in the emissions in scope 3 for us essentially will come through the switch towards the green and clean energy. And that's critical, and we just don't rest hoping for governments to make their decisions. We do a lot of lobbying efforts, but we also partner with policymakers, we partner with businesses, we partner with various stakeholders in the value chain to ensure that we advance the agenda and indeed make a strong case for the shift. We have lined up long-term virtual power purchasing agreements, supporting some of the biggest solar and wind projects around the world, in Europe, in the US, making sure that we are contributing and committed towards long-term shift towards the renewable electricity. And this, we feel, in combination also with driving some of the regulatory changes towards phasing out some of the inefficient technologies. We, being the lighting leader, we still have the role to essentially educate the industry and the regulators so that they can make a faster switch towards the more advanced and the more efficient technology. So we are also proactively phasing out some of the inefficient technologies ourselves in the course of next few years. Now, all this transformation essentially needs a lot of investments. So we invested about almost €250 million in the sustainable innovations last year. And as it was mentioned, right, it's a strong business case. So just take an example. This is almost 90% of our total R&D budget in a year. So we indeed are putting money where the mouth is. We are not making sustainability as a side strategy. This is the business for us. This is the way we actually drive our innovation power to advance the agenda for us, but also, of course, bring the benefit to the industry and to our customers. Some examples, though. LED, as a technology, of course, is evolving. Over every 5 years, we see an improvement in efficiency in the range of 30 to 35%. But that's not enough. LED being digital, there is also a possibility to now combine it with all the digital technologies. So we have all kind of smart solutions for different applications. That simply means that you can actually have the savings potential even up to 90% versus the conventional technologies. Now that's in the lighting domain, but you also when start to have these smart systems integrate with a lot of other systems in a built environment, you also can actually have a lot of data collected from the lighting, essentially helping to make smart decisioning in the other spaces like air conditioning, for example, giving you additional savings on top of that. We also are very circular-minded, apart from, of course, making products which are fit for reuse and recyclability. We also have solutions where we actually produce lighting fixtures out of 3D printing technology. So we use recycled plastic, but at the end of the life, these products indeed can be recycled again and actually be given a new shape and a form and a new life. We also do solar lighting. Again, in the off-grid situations, we are actually basically saying 100% energy savings. If people go for solar lighting solutions, you don't need actually any electricity. You can actually use the solar power for your off-grid solutions. That's an interesting proposition as well. On the circularity, we also offer now circularity as a service. So apart from having the product designed to be reused and refurbished, we also now undertake that as a service offering for our customers. So customers, when they contract with us at the start of the project, at the end of the life cycle, we come back and we actually refurbish and remanufacture the products fit for purpose again with the same level of performance, even improved energy efficiency over the next many years to come. This helps them to make whole life cycle of the solution longer and, of course, save a lot of course, embodied carbon and of operational carbons in the process. I have the last slide. As you see, there is limited opportunities in our own operations. We have done a lot in there. There's a lot of opportunities out there to make sure that we actually leverage the efficiency improvements in the technology today. And to do that, lighting as an industry is in a very, very unique and positive position. We have the technology which actually is ready to make an impact, but we can't do it alone. We need partners, so we basically need two. We need the industry, we need the partners, so this is also a call out for everybody who is here. But I think there's also another call of action, which is not to just look for these technologies essentially when we are talking of green fields. There was a call out from Vijay from the stage yesterday, which was brown to green. I think it is very important that we start to look at these technologies essentially to retrofit the existing built environment what we have. 80% of the buildings what exist today will persist up to 2050. So the world can't simply achieve the target signed up in the Paris Accord unless we really start to go back and retrofit some of these buildings. And lighting, as I said, is in the right position. We have the technology which can make an impact. All what we need is to scale. And I look for conversations beyond this, and we can happy to, of course, also see how we can help everybody, to help in the journey and make this switch towards the smarter, brighter lives and for the better world. Thank you very much.